Hello, everyone. My name is Carrie Hunt. Hopefully you're all having a great week. I'm going to get right started here talking about the things that we've been learning about how to design our curriculum for a workshop, or the things we've been studying about learning and studying about teaching. I really liked the simplicity of how everything was laid out in the textbook. So the component display theory just made it really clear that there has to be a balance between the leader just talking and then, of course, the participants talking. And there has to be a balance between principles being shared and then, of course, the human experiences. So that was sort of broken down into two areas, either the exposition or the inquisitory. So the exposition would be the presenter telling or showing or presenting the information. And the inquisitory part would be the asking questions, the application, the practicing the skills. So within that, there is where you combine the inquisitory with the generality. So you're telling the rule or the principle, and then you can tell a story or share an example that supports the principle, or you can have the class do that. And then the instance portion of that model is the specific examples or the processes or the stories. So by combining, you might present as the presenter, you might recall or repeat in an experience of your own, or help them pull out an experience of their own to apply to the principle. So that just kind of is a simple model to when we're making our workshops to kind of organize our thoughts and organize the structure to make sure that we have a good balance between those two areas. And this is so similar to just what we see every day, I think, in our church classes. We're so used to these types of models of, yes, we teach the principle, and then how does that apply, or how does the principle relate to an actual experience in our own lives? So the text also talked about, of course, that the instruction needs to address real problems and solutions. It's all great to study theory, but if that theory doesn't actually apply to your own life, then it's sort of a waste of time. So using stories is a powerful way to do this. And of course, in general conference and any good testimony meeting, or not testimony meeting, any good talk or lesson in church, you're always going to hear a personal story, and then how the gospel principle was applied in that story to help you, to help you through it, or that story could be used as a metaphor. And that's how the scriptures are as well. So, but we have our stories, but we also want to help the participants to be able to share their stories and find how their experiences relate to the principles. So this is going to be challenging for doing the workshop, I think, because we only have 4 hours with these people. They may or may not know us very well. So finding ways to help them bring out their stories, make sure that the environment of the workshop is open and engaging in such a way that they will already start thinking about how these things apply to their stories, and giving them opportunities to share that. The text also talked about the power of observing others who are living that principle. And through either, they talked about an interview style or video, or different examples of how others actually already live the principle. And then to activate existing knowledge, all of the people that we'll work with through workshops already have lived experience, already have a base of knowledge, and to activate what they know already, and to help them realize what they know already, and maybe what their past experiences taught them, and then use that as a base for moving forward to adding new knowledge to that. Okay, the text talked about the power of demonstration. And that's sort of like the modeling that we just talked about, except for even just demonstrating new skills and practicing the new skills. I think it was Gottman that they referred to, the Gottman book, where he said that if you over practice a skill, then there's a fighting chance that in an actual situation, that over learning will possibly give you a chance to overcome what's just completely natural, what you've done for years and years and years. So really practicing things. I know I took a class years ago at Rick's college, and it was a marriage enhancement class, and there was a whole portion of the course that was about communication. And we literally had to practice every class period, and we were supposed to practice at home with our spouse or with our fiance, whoever it might have been. There was a mat we had to stand on and to model the different portions, like, okay, now I'm listening, so I'm in the listening part of the mat. It was kind of corny, but that over-learning can help you in the situation when you feel flooded or when you feel overwhelmed. So the power of demonstration, the power of practicing. Okay, so I love the formula for engaging the audience. The workshop needs to be, or the information needs to be relevant to them, to their life, to their situation, to their culture, to what they need, a felt need that they really have. So it needs to be relevant. We need to be respectful, and that includes respectful of different, diversity, as well as just the fact that every family is a little bit different and everyone has different experiences. And then the third part of the formula for engaging the audience is participation. Everyone wants to, it's vital to have people not just sitting there, not just listening and being fed information, but in order for them to really learn and really ingrain this into their self, they have to participate, think, mold the information around, put it back out in their own words, see how it applies to their life. So lastly, I loved the part about the relationships as the basis for learning. And I think that this can be something that we don't need a lot of time to build this relationship, even just right away at the beginning of a workshop. There's ways to show acceptance. There's ways to show positive regard, affirmation, self-disclosure by sharing a little bit about, ourselves and our experiences. Personal rapport, empathy, and compassion. It doesn't take a long time to be able to show that you're a sincere person and that you are non-judgmental, I guess. I also really appreciated the portion about how to identify and appreciate the family's strengths. And I think this can happen in a discussion. When you are saying, let's talk about ways that we can apply this principle. And as people are sharing things, you're validating their idea by writing it on a whiteboard. Or you're validating their idea by saying, I really like that. And by saying, I heard her say this, and I heard her say this, I'm seeing a theme here. So really identifying the strengths that they already have and validating the positive parts of their experience already. And then, and if there is something that's negative, maybe helping them reframe it. So Seligman, I can never know how to say his name, but it was quoted in the text. And I really like this. If we have a strength-based program, right? Growth is tied to effectively using our strengths to move forward from there instead of remedying our weaknesses. And I can see how effective that is. Even just in my own family relationships, maybe just with like my husband or whatever. When we talk about, hey, this is what you're really good at, let's focus on this instead of like, this is what you do wrong, this is what you do wrong, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of this. Like, this is what's good, this is a positive way to handle it, let's move forward and build on that. And so I think that if that's the approach that we take, it's really going to give people more hope and less, sort of just negativity and just bogging people down. It's like, listen, we've all got strengths. Let's just capitalize on our strengths in order to be more skilled and more proficient in our family relationships. Hey, some of the tools and skills that the text talked about were leading group discussions. And I thought it was important that they said, before you lead a group discussion, to structure, you make clear the purpose, the goals of the discussion. That helps not to get off topic, and it also lets people know where you're going. And, using a thought-provoking problem statement or question, and then finding those common themes and elements in order to help the participants interact. I like the idea too of, if somebody asks a question, even if you know the answer as the instructor, turning to the audience, turning to the participants and saying, well, you've heard the question, what do you think? The second idea that I really liked was the fishbowl. And we're actually, the workshop that I'm teaching with Jenny Allen, we're going to teach together. We thought that this would be a really great idea. We're doing a mother-daughter workshop, and we're talking about different elements that will help build the strength of the youth. But one of the portions is about building relationships and including the mother-daughter relationship, strengthening that. So we thought the example in the text about the fishbowl was perfect, where you would have the mothers and the daughters divided, and then one group would be in the middle and the other group would sit around them in a circle. And we would ask them different questions. What, like the book referred to the question of, oh, what do you want from your mother? Or, what would you hope for from your relationship with your mother? And they would share, and we'd write some of the ideas down, or have the outer circle write some of those ideas down. And then one person would report kind of a summary of what they said, and they switch places. And they can't interrupt, and they really have to listen and try to process, wow, this is the other person's perspective. So it teaches empathy and it teaches perspective taking. Lastly, I wanted to talk about some of the other things you can do to kind of add different elements. We're going to be working with youth, and so we feel like it's really important to break it up and do a lot of different interactive activities. So we're going to do some movie clips, and the movie clips are going to be, it's going to be a game. So we're going to show a movie clip. We're going to have a list of developmental assets, positive assets that youth should develop. And then we're going to show different movie clips, and we're going to say, okay, figure out from this list which positive developmental trait is shown in this clip. Maybe we won't use positive developmental trait with the youth. We'll make it something a little bit more applicable, like what quality is this character showing? And see if they can start to bring these things out and identify them. And then they can have a discussion about how to apply those to their own life. So that will be fun. We're also going to use some of the videos from talking about body image from the Dove campaign about self-esteem and positive body image for young women. And the Dove campaign has some amazing videos that really will elicit emotion, and they're a really powerful way to teach. And then we're going to play some games. So we're going to make it very interactive and use a lot of different techniques to drive the principles home. I wish you the best of luck as you are working on your lesson plans, and as you're try to figure all this out. We're working hard too, but lots of good information here and lots of guidance to help us as we do this. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you.